myself, I filled it in. No time for that doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse, mine it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like Toby, keep on running toes, they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win, yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back for another episode this week. Today we're talking about week 7. We're already halfway through the college football season. It is something crazy to be saying at this current moment. It sucks, but hey, it's been a fun season so far. Now, quickly, before I talk about week 7, I would like to ask that you first like, comment, share, subscribe. It helps the channel, helps the network. That was my channel, CTC, by way of the Refuse to Lose Network. Next, like I said, this is a network, so we got shows. First, we got the main show featuring Joe, Tomo, and Dave. Now, just a little behind the curtains. I was asked to do the show today, but y'all know we got weekday Conference USA today. So, unfortunately, I can't. The show starts at 7. It's from 7 to 8:30. First game started at 7. So, the last game started at 8. So, I got to be locked in watching this Conference USA football. But I will say this. They are talking about a topic that I would love to talk about, but I can't because of the Conference USA. But anyway, appreciate the extension anyway. Next, we got Unfazed, which is also tonight. It's Tuesdays, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. That's by featuring Joe and AJ, so be on the lookout for that. That episode tonight should be very interesting considering that both of their teams lost. So that episode should be very fun. Next, we have BWT, Baseball with Teddy. My Tigers didn't get it done. We wasted a Schoolball masterclass. Schoolball broke 2 postseason records that game, and we still lost. So that sucks. But blank check pay Schoolball. Y'all make sure y'all tune in to BWT, man. Next, we got FFC Fantasy Football with Coach Coombs, who went live this morning. Week 6 is now officially over in the NFL space. So make sure y'all listen to him. Get your tidbits, waiver wires, things like that for the upcoming week 7, which starts Thursday. We have Real Ballers Only featuring Vaughn. We got Dave's Doghouse featuring Dave. Highlights and lowlights of sports. RBO is an NBA show. We got the Joe Jordan show, who went live early this morning. I watched it as I was prepping for today's show. I didn't catch it live. It was 6 in the morning. I didn't know he was going to live. I was knocked out. But make sure y'all catch him. He's the morning guys. He said on his show. Make sure you check into that. And last but not least, we have In the Red Corner, who went live yesterday. They normally go live every other Sunday. They are a boxing episode featuring Ricky, Ty, and Tomo. So make sure y'all check them out as well. And that's all the shows we have on the network. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to those shows. And if you like what you're listening to, stick with us. Now, before I get into the recap, I got one more thing. As you can see, top right is my current pick'em and my current week record. I did go 9-3 last week, so that was a great thing. I thought my record was in jeopardy, man. Friday Night Lights, I went 2-0. I'm looking good. Then in the morning, it was like it was pretty decent. Can't remember what the morning record was. Oh, it was 1-1 because I only covered 2 games. But then 3:30 came around. I was like, I'm about to lose all the 3:30 slots. But thankfully, Nebraska came back. So I went 1-2, and then like I said, I had a perfect night. I went, I think, 6-0 on the night game. So shout out to the night games, maybe 5-0 in that realm. Shout out to even hit the CTC parlay. So shout out to the night game. So that was cool. That was cool for sure. It's currently 64-34 on the season on pick'ems with a couple upsets too. So shout out to that. But got a comment. We'll get into it. Yes, sir. He said, my brother, shout out my brother. He said week 7 record looking sweet. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let's get into the recaps. And y'all know this recap. Like I said, this is what happened in college football week 7. And we always start with the upsets. And I try to do them in time order. So, like, for example, the first upset we got on here is Pitt 34 over 25th ranked Florida State 31. This happened at noon, so that's why I'm covering it first. Now, Florida State was without a lot of guys. Squirrel White didn't go. Micah Pittman didn't go. And then during the game, right before half, they lose Deuce Robinson and they lose Randy Pittman in the middle of the game. So just a lot of firepower loss for the Florida State Seminoles in this game. They did finish, not finish. They did, how do I want to say this? The game, before the game started, Pitt ended up being 11.5-point underdogs. So this was a big win for Pitt as 11.5-point underdogs in this one. I would have liked to see how this would have ended. However, you know, at least if at least Deuce Robinson finished the game, Deuce and Randy would have finished the game. I would have liked to see how this finished. But to be honest, the way the game went, I mean, Florida State blinked first. Both teams came out and scored on their opening drive, but Pitt would score 2 touchdowns on 2 drives, while Florida State did not. I think they punted. But then Pitt had 2 bad interceptions in the second quarter. Earl Little caught one of those, but the second one led to points on the board. Mason Hinschool, the quarterback, threw 2 bad interceptions in the second quarter. True freshman. I think he had a decent game. I mean, obviously, when you have 2 picks, that's not good. So I can't say he had a good game, but I think overall it was fairly decent. Desmond Reed, however, I know, as we all know, if you've been paying attention to Pitt last year and this year, Desmond Reed, great runner of the football, tough-nosed runner, transfer from Holy Cross, but an excellent receiver as well. He had a day in the air for the Pitt Panthers. He was making big play after big play. And Pitt scored on 4 of their last 5 drives in the second half. So in the second half, they scored on 4 or 5 drives. They went touchdown, punt, then field goal, touchdown. So they had an enormous second half after being down 21-14 at halftime. They would win the second half 20-10. Excuse me, my fault. Almost did bad math. 20-10. Florida State scored a late game touchdown to try to rally, but Pitt will hold on to win the game. And like I said, man, Florida State did lose 2 big pieces to their offense during the game, like I said, and Deuce Robinson and Randy Pittman. So I think that was a big reason of why they lost. But I mean, because even Florida State recovered a fumble. I just would have liked to see that game if at least those 2 guys could finish. I think the offense in the second half of Florida State would have been better than 10 points with those 2 guys. A guy in Deuce Robinson who makes plays, a ton of contested catches. He's a guy you can go to bail you out. I just wish he could have stayed healthy in that game. But nonetheless, great win for Pitt, even to be sticking around before that happens. Because you got to hang around. It's not like they was blowing them out, and Pitt started to come back once they got hurt. I mean, it was a good game, even with those guys in. So I don't want to take anything away from the Pitt win. I don't. But I like I said, I do feel that way. But great win for Pitt nonetheless. Narduzzi, got to talk to your boy about some of these picks, but we'll move on. I didn't even realize I didn't click that. We'll move on to I think I skipped over one by accident. Yeah, Iowa State 17, Colorado 24. I think this one happened in the news slide as well. I accidentally wrote Indiana and Oklahoma over this one, but I believe this game happened at noon as well. And man, like I said last week, I'm gonna say it again this week. The injuries for Iowa State have just been devastating for this defense. Now, granted, they started off, they gave up 7 points in the first half. So I can't really say too much about that. But second half, Colorado came out, scored back-to-back touchdowns. And it just, I don't want to say it was over because Iowa State matched the first one. But you had the second one, and I don't get how that wasn't defensive pass interference on the Tawfiq Byer interception. Now, Tawfiq Byer wasn't the one that interfered. But they say that I think it was the tight end, ran up on him and put hands on him. That's fine if you want to throw a flag for OPI, but I think that definitely needs to be a flag for DPI as well, for him grabbing him and pulling him down. Now, nonetheless, I do think that's an interception. It was a bad ball. Like, the ball didn't even touch, like, get near either one of them. But I thought at the very least that should have been offsetting flags. And I'll give you an example. So if I'm a defensive player excuse me, I'm an offensive player, and a guy illegally hits my face mask, illegal hands to the face, but I hold him and bring him down because of the illegal hands to the face. They're going to call both flags. They're just going to offset. And I felt like that should have been a situation on that pass that Tafik Bayer intercepted, and it should have been an offsetting play, and they should have redid it. But nonetheless, they called no foul, which is crazy. I know at the very least it should have been OPI, which would have been declined, but they said no foul. The interception stood. They didn't score from it, but it was a red zone opportunity taken away from the Cyclones. Then the next drive on 4th and 1, they blow up an Abu Sama run, and this was not even in plus territory. This was in Iowa State's territory, which led to a field goal to put them up 7, 24-17, and then they just didn't get it done on the last drive as well. Colorado would take over the win. Devastating loss to Iowa State, but a huge rallying win for Colorado, who was searching for a good win. I still think this is a good win beating Iowa State. Nonetheless, injured or not, this is still a good and well-coached team in Iowa State. So I think this was a great win for Colorado. I'm not going to say Caden Salter looked the greatest in this game because he didn't. He looked okay. He did. He looked okay in this game, but he made plays when need be. Omarion Miller made plays when he needed to be made. The defense, like I said, Tafik Bayer, he made that tough interception. I think it was just a great win. Robinson, I can't remember his first name. Number 8, the receiver, Robinson, he made big plays down the field. Matter of fact, let me give him his proper respect. Let me find his name. He made big plays down the field for the Buffs. So I got to give him his proper respect. For sure. So let me get his name. Was this him? No, this is not him. This is a completely different roster. I say I don't think it's crazy though because we got the same name. So like, I don't think this is him. Why is it not bringing him up? I don't get it. I don't get why I can't Google his name. Right? No, bro. I understand that like he didn't really play, but come on, bro. Hold on. Let me do this. My fault, y'all. But like I said, I want to give him his proper respect, and I can't remember his first name right now, and it's starting to irritate me. So to that ops I go. I ain't gonna lie. Like this is like I said. I just want to give him his proper respect. That's all. And I felt like just calling him Robinson, that's not enough respect. So let me go look for his name real quick. I'm so mad. Joseph Williams. My fault. That's not even his last name. Joseph Williams. I even confused his name. Anyway, that's why I couldn't find it. Joseph Williams. Great game to him as well. But we'll move on to another upset. And I deserve punishment for this one. What the heck did this just do? I don't know. There you go. I deserve punishment for this because I picked against Kirk Cignetti. And Joe's my guy. If Joe's listening, I've said this to him multiple times. You don't bet against Cignetti. And what did I come on this show and do? I came on this show and picked against Cignetti. And I lost. The Indiana Hoosiers go into Autzen Stadium and beat the Oregon Ducks 30-20. Held their offense to 3 points in the second half. Yes, 3 points. Yes, you might be saying, Carl, they scored 10 in the second half. Yes, they scored a pick 6. Shout out Brandon Finney Jr. He scored a pick 6 in the fourth quarter. But that offense did nothing in the third, nothing in the fourth, did nothing in the second half. Really, Indiana did a great job on Oregon's offense all game. They scored a big play in the first quarter to score the first touchdown of the game. But other than that, that's the only touchdown Oregon scored offensively, which is crazy. That Indiana defense deserves a lot of props for that win against the Oregon Ducks. Cignetti should be, I think, number 1 for Coach of the Year. And then I know you might be saying, what about Mario Cristobal? Even Dan Mullen at UNLV, they're undefeated right now, Mountain West. I get all that. Cignetti is undefeated with a win on the road at Oregon. Oregon don't lose at home. It's rare Oregon loses at home in the regular season. I think this is Oregon's first Big Ten loss since they joined the Big Ten. Yeah, this is Oregon's first Big Ten loss since joining the Big Ten. Cignetti deserves to be Coach of the Year so far. I mean, like I said, you got some names. Willie Fritz at Houston. I can't think of Texas Tech head coach right now. And that's so irritating. I can't think of his name right now. But, you got Texas Tech head coach. You got, like I said, Crystal Ball. I'm not throwing Ryan Day in that mix. I'm sorry, I'm not. I'm just not. Even I think you might even be able to throw Kalen DeBoer in that mix for the turnaround Bama has done after Florida State. But my vote right now is Kirk Signetti. But like I said, man, Indiana did a great job against the Oregon Ducks offensively. Held them to 13 points all game, 1 touchdown, which is insane. So shout out to them for that. And Indiana would go on to score 10 unanswered points after that pick 6 in the fourth quarter by Brandon Finney Jr. So, yeah, man, just a great win from the Indiana team. Signetti is doing amazing things in Indiana. And I think that might have just locked up his bid to the college football playoffs. Now, granted, he can't lose the rest of his games, which he won't lose out. Literally plays Michigan State this Saturday. Take the points. Take the minus 27.5. It might have jumped up to the minus 30.5 right now. And yes, I'm a Michigan State fan. But I'm taking that. No hesitation. But great win. We'll move on to the Red River rivalry. Again, like I said, man, the 3 o'clocks were not good to me. These are the 2 games I lost in the 3 o'clock slot. Oklahoma loses to Texas 23-6. 6th-ranked Oklahoma. Now, like I will say this. John Mateer looked terrible. He looked awful. He looked bad. Now, I will give credit. Some of it was the Texas defense. I say majority of it was Texas defense. I don't want to take away from the defense at all, especially forcing 3 turnovers. But some of it, I think, could have been that hand. I don't think he was ready. I think he could have rushed himself to play because it's a big rivalry game. My team needs me. Things, you know how he's human, so you know how humans are. But looking back, hindsight is always 20/20. You know, I'm definitely Tuesday quarterbacking. He probably shouldn't have played. Probably should have waited one more game, at least try to come back to South Carolina. But I get it, though. I can understand it. It's the Red River rivalry. Who don't want to be a part of that? So I definitely understand it. But I would like to say this, too. Arch Manning actually looked pretty good. I mean, I ain't going to say he looked the greatest. Not at all. But he looked pretty good. Quintravion Wisner had a lot to do with that, though. He was definitely toting that rock. Tough to bring down. But you can see Arch starting to form a little bit from that game. Now, it's just one game. I ain't saying he good. I ain't saying he bad. I'm not saying this erases a lot of what he did in the past this year. I'm just saying for this game, he looked pretty good. That's all I'm saying. But Oklahoma will start off with 2 field goals. And that was it. They first 2 drives, they got 2 field goals, and they scored no more for the rest of the game. Texas would go off to score 23 unanswered. At halftime, the score was 6-3. They come out of half. Texas would go down to score a touchdown. And, I mean, for real, like in hindsight, that was the nail in the coffin because Oklahoma didn't score. But I think what iced the game to me was that punt return. The 75-yard punt return. That iced the game by Ryan Niblett. Iced the game for me. Also, I would like to say Texas offense was making plays early in the game. Like I said, I know they only had 3 points at first half, but they were making plays. They just couldn't sustain drives. So that was their issue. But Quintravion Wisner had a heck of a game, man. He definitely was he was tough to tackle in that game. Texas put up 23 straight to win the game. That Texas defense, I mean, we know is real, but it's definitely for real. It's elite. So shout out to them. But a great win in the Red River rivalry. Shark is now 3-1 versus Brett Venables in this Red River rivalry. So shout out to Sark for that. And we move on to the final upset, which was a great hate watch for me. Can't lie. Michigan. I mean, to be honest, they did get dominated against USC on the road. 15th ranked Michigan loses 31-13 versus USC on the road. And like I said, if you're USC, you put up points and force Michigan to score. And that's what they did. And Michigan could not score. They can't pass the ball effectively. So when you force them to have to pass the ball, it is not a good thing for Michigan. They're built to run the ball, play defense, and win black and blue football games. Mekhi Lemon, absolutely amazing catches in this game. Now, he's not dog of the week. His teammate is, but not dog of the week, excuse me. He's not a major performer. His teammate is a major performer, but he isn't. But, man, that boy had some crazy catches in that game. But Bryce Underwood, 2 interceptions. Like I said, man, that Michigan passing game is not good. And you force them to pass, they can be beat. So that was a big win. They came out struck first, like I said. They scored on their first drive. USC did. Michigan, once they finally scored a touchdown late in the first half, USC immediately responded and scored a touchdown right back. USC held Michigan to one touchdown each half, while Michigan threw 2 interceptions in the second half. So, like I said, they was playing comeback, and once they was playing comeback, they go to turnovers. I said it, like y'all gonna get them if y'all just you make them have to score. That's when you can force them turnovers, and that's what USC did. So shout out to USC for getting that win for your boy. But we're gonna move on to some notable games. Got a couple notable games. Those were the upsets. The first notable game, which I really probably shouldn't even have done for real, because this game was a blowout. The score don't even indicate how close this game was, and this they still won by 18. Ohio State, first-ranked Ohio State beats Illinois, 17th ranked Illinois, which probably unranked now. We'll talk about that in poll talk. 34-16. Now, Ohio State offense was unstoppable. Now, there is 2 punts in that. So you remember saying, I thought you said it was unstoppable. It was unstoppable because when they needed to make a play, they made the play. And when Illinois needed to stop, they couldn't get a stop. They came out and got a field goal, a touchdown, a punt, field goal, touchdown, punt. They put up, I believe, 27 points in the first half. That's what, 24? 20? Yeah, 20 points in the first half. Illinois couldn't establish any offense. They had like under 100 yards in the first half. Just couldn't get anything going. Ohio State responded with the second half, responded to Illinois starting the second half with a touchdown. So Illinois, they did come out get a touchdown. They're feeling like we can finally fight our way back in this. And Ohio State said, hey, kill that noise and scored. And then Ohio State went up 34-10. And it seemed like that was the ball game, which it really pretty much was. I mean, Illinois would score another touchdown late. They went for 2, tried to make it a 16-point game, trying to make it like a 2-possession game. But they didn't get the 2-point conversion. They did get the ball back, but just killed too much time. Couldn't even get it in the end zone. Ohio State was still blitzing. Matt Patricia was still sending blitzes late game up 18. He did not care. He wanted to send a message. But great win for Ohio State to win it in blowout fashion. If you're Illinois, it's back to the drawing board yet again. You're in a big matchup with a big team and you get blown out. So it's back to the drawing board for them. Now you Illinois fans might be hearing this like USC, Carl, USC. Yeah, USC defense ain't. It's good, but it ain't Ohio State and Indiana. But we'll move on to another notable game, which I picked wrong. I went with the Mizzou home upset. I thought Bo Pribula and the Tigers would get it done. They, however, lost to Alabama, 8th-ranked Alabama, 27-24 in a regulation. Now, Bo Pribula did throw 2 bad interceptions in this game, including the last one that killed the drive. We possibly had somebody open down the left sideline. Just overshot a man down the middle of the field. Mizzou and Bama both opened up with opening drive touchdowns. Bama started off hot like I said they would, man. They normally start off hot. They scored 17 straight points after Mizzou started with their opening touchdown drive. Bama responded, like I said, with a touchdown. Then they responded again with another touchdown once Mizzou punted. And then they went and got a field goal. So, like I said, they scored 17 unanswered after going down 7-0. They would be leading at halftime 17-10. But Mizzou would get the ball back on, I believe, a fumble and score to tie the game in the second half to start the second half, tying it at 17-17 before Bama would kick a field goal to go up 20-17 for like majority of the game. Then I believe Bama scored a touchdown to go up 27-17. And then Mizzou would get the ball, I believe, off another turnover to make it a 24-27 point game. Then Mizzou forced a field goal. Bama missed because Bama should have had 30. Bama did miss a field goal in this game. Mizzou had a ball, though, late, down 3, with like a ton of time in college. It was like 50-something seconds. Was in college with first down? No, it was over 50 seconds. It was like a minute. But in college, even 50 seconds is a ton of time because first down, the clock temporarily stops until the chains are set. You got the sideline still, like the pros. You got all that. You just got the extra time with the first down stoppages temporarily. So they got to a 4th down. The freshman, Donovan, caught a crazy pass down the right sideline. But that'd be it for real. They couldn't get anything going after that. Like I said, Bama catches the interception. And Bama would go on to win the game. A tough 4 game in Columbia, Missouri. But the guy came away with yet another road W, might I say. And Kalen DeBoer haters yet again are silent. And I know this. I have been picking against Bama. But it has nothing to do with DeBoer and Bama. This week, undefeated Mizzou at home. Pribula has been balling. Tough environment to play in. Purbueller hasn't been turning the ball. I don't think he had interceptions until this week. So I'm like, you've been testing the football, run game, Bama. It's been really because I've been picking against Bama, really because Bama's run defense ain't been the greatest, but it showed up. It showed up in the large part yesterday. It wasn't perfect, nothing is, but it was definitely better than what I expected it to be that Saturday. So going against teams like Georgia, Vandy, and Mizzou, who can run the ball effectively, I thought Bama run defense would be their Achilles heel. But I guess Bama's fast starts with their offense has been able to help erase that. So shout out to Bama, man. Shout out to Bama. Another notable game I got is Nebraska at Maryland. And what I said in my preview happened. I said, if you're in Nebraska and if you find yourself down late, do not put your head down because Maryland literally just did this last week against Washington. And what happened? Dylan Raiola threw a pick six late. Maryland went up 31-24 late. And Nebraska scored 10 unanswered to win the game 34-31. Literally, Maryland blew another late game lead and couldn't get anything going on offense and threw a pick to end the game. It's, like I said, I be wanting to say Maryland is legit this year, but I can't. These losses that they have, I can't do it. You got to find a way to win at least one of these games. If it ain't, Washington is the one you had to find a way to win. You were up 20-0. That's the game you have to find a way to come away with. Nebraska, that was back and forth all night. Nebraska would go up, then you would score two straight to go up. Then Nebraska would score two straight to go up. Then you would go score two straight to go up. That was back and forth. I feel like you got to come away with that one too. But if we're going to pick, I'm going to pick the Washington game. That's the one you definitely got to come up with. But like I said, if you're down late against Maryland, don't panic. Don't put your head down. Pick your head up. One play at a time. You'll find a way to win. Sorry, Maryland. But I will say Raiola threw 3 interceptions. Unacceptable. Can't have that. You play Minnesota next week. Minnesota has a really good defense. You can't do that. Raiola threw a pick six in the third quarter, put them up, but they found a way to rally and win. Emmett Johnson had a phenomenal game at running back. He is an amazing performer, so stay tuned for that. But we'll move on to a game I really want to talk about. I want to definitely talk about these last two games. But the first game we got to talk about, 10th ranked Georgia wins at Auburn 20-10. Now, when this first game first started, Auburn every third down, picking it up, clockwork. They even picked up a 3rd and 14 on a quarterback draw and almost scored with Jackson Arnold. I was like, man, hey, Georgia, if y'all don't fix this run defense, it's a wrap. But then the momentum turned when this happened. And as a guy who picked Georgia, as a guy who bet on Georgia, I can say this. That was a touchdown. They ran a quarterback sneak. Jackson Arnold, he literally got over the goal line. They called it a fumble. Georgia recovers. But I think the ball broke the plane first. And that's me being very unbiased. I think Auburn got screwed in that. But that happened late first half. You got to shake that off. If you're Hugh Freeze, you got to rally your troops. And you got to get them to shake that off. It's a terrible, I don't even want to say terrible because it's a lot of congested. It's a congested area. I don't want to say terrible, but it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. We'll go with that. It's very unfortunate, but you're still up. You're up 10-3 at halftime because Georgia did go down and score a field goal off of that. I thought if they were going to call it a fumble, they should have let it go out and then let it be a touchdown, but they didn't. And it was like, we'll just blow it dead, call it a fumble, and see if it was or not. Georgia kicks a field goal off that. Cool. You're still up 10-3. Georgia gets the ball at half. I don't believe they scored right away. They didn't. Yeah, it was back and forth. But your offense gets shut out in the second half. You can't lean on that play if your offense does nothing in the second half, which they did. They shut out in the second half. There's another controversy I want to talk about. The clapping timeout. This man, Kirby Smart, do you know we can see you? You know you are on camera. You are clearly going like this, not this. You even changed your hand mannerisms once you started talking to the ref. You're like, no, I didn't call timeout. I was going like this. I was clapping. Bro, you were going like this, running to the ref the entire time. Then you were like, well, I got penalties before in this building, clapping, I guess, trying to say that you're disconcerting signals or the offense. So I guess he was saying he was trying to let them know they were clapping and all this other BS. No, bro, no. You were calling timeout. You got the play off. You didn't expect to get the play off. They granted you the timeout. He was like, no, I wasn't calling timeout. I was letting y'all know something, bro. No, you weren't. Stop it. Just tell the truth. You got away with it. It's fine. Whatever. No harm, no foul, and telling the truth. Now, when you lie, that's when you piss people off. Just tell the truth, bro. You wanted a timeout. You ain't think they was going to get it off in time. You got it off in time, and you just came up with a lie real quick so you can keep your timeout. Because that's literally what happened. We all seen you doing this. That's not AI. It's not doctor. You're going like this. Nobody claps like this. Nobody. Literally nobody. Then, when the ref sees you, you go like this. Stop it. You're lying. Anyway, that was a huge controversial moment because it let them keep the timeout. They got to reset the play clock, and they got to get the playoff. So that was huge. But Georgia scored a touchdown late game to ice the game. Like I said, Bama didn't score in the second. Not Bama. Auburn didn't score in the second half. You can't do that. You can't get shut out in your own building on offense. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about those two controversial moments because they were very controversial. And like Kirby Smart, give it up, bro. We all know you're lying. Stop it. But the last game I wanted to talk about, notable game, is we had an overtime thriller in 18th ranked BYU at Arizona, which BYU won 33-27 in double overtime. Now, this game was crazy because BYU would go out 14-0 before a weather delay. After the weather delay, Arizona would score 17 straight points in the second quarter to go up 17-14 at halftime. Then both teams would trade interceptions in the third quarter. Arizona threw a red zone interception. BYU threw an interception trying to drive into Arizona territory, which Arizona would capitalize off their interception with a 4th-and-1 touchdown run. But BYU were going to score 10 straight points, including a drive, the last drive, where they had like 2 defensive penalties go against Arizona to reset their goal line opportunities. And then in overtime, both teams would trade field goals, which BYU play calling was absolutely disgusting in their first overtime after Arizona kicked the field goal. You don't throw the ball like that. Why did you not even attempt to run the ball once? It was just disgusting. Like the first play, they just threw it up to Chase Roberts for a touchdown, trying to end it with a well play touchdown, incomplete. Second play, I think they did like a rollout pass, didn't go nowhere. I think he even lost yards. And like third down, same, like nothing happened. So thankfully, he made the field goal. And then BYU gets the ball back. They actually decide to run the ball, which they ran the ball very effectively with LJ Martin. In the second overtime, they scored. And they got a 4th down stop on Arizona on 4th and 7 to win that game in double overtime, which was a great win for the BYU Cougars as they remain undefeated at 6-0. And this is the first time in program history, from what I remember I saw on the graphic, that they are 6-0 in back-to-back seasons. Now, I know I was talking about Coach of the Year, and y'all know I talk about how well Coach BYU is. Kalani Sitake definitely could be in the running for Coach of the Year at BYU if he keeps this up. I can't even lie. So, shout out to Sitake, great head coach. He could definitely be in the running for that as well. Now, I got some games to mention before we go to major performances. Some first game I would like to mention was a game that I was so happy for. I was amped up. I was anticipated, and it became a blowout. And that is the South Florida at North Texas game. South Florida will win 63-36. And I told y'all if Drew Mack I'm about to mess up his name. Mastermaker. There you go. If Drew Mastermaker changed that interception column number, which was 0, it'd be a long game for North Texas. And he threw 3. Now, granted, South Florida started the game with like 3 turnovers, but they were still in the game. Once Mastermaker started turning that ball over, it was a wrap. So, yeah, just a bad game in terms of turnovers, even for both teams. But I told y'all, South Florida can establish that run, which they did, and then they were able to hit on some pretty explosive passes as well. But if they can stop that run, that's tough to stop, especially against North Texas, who's tough. They can't really stop the run. Next game, Jack State beats Sam Houston with a game-winning field goal. As Sam Houston they went to go score a touchdown with like 50-some seconds left to go up 1. Jack State will go down and score the game winner. Now, I will say this. I said this in my chat, not my chat, in the college football chat. So if you want to be a member, join the chats. So Sam Houston, right? You give up a big play to Cam Cook. Cool. You give up a big first down pass. Cool, whatever. It's just defense. It happens. After Jack State gets a first down, they call that last time out. It's 5 seconds left. It's 1st and 10. They come out and show they're going to run a play just to make the field goal a little bit closer. Why are you 20 yards, and I'm exaggerating, Why are you not pressed up on these guys? They're not pressed. They're like giving them yardage. Bruh, they're just going to run a quick out and get to the out of bounds. What are you doing? I would at least have my outside corners pressed and not giving up the sidelines. They get a free 3-4 yards, and it looked like the kick needed those 3-4 yards. It looked like if they gained nothing on that play, Garrison Ripper would have missed. So, great win for Jack State, but Sam Houston, again, finds another way to lose another game as they remain winless under new head coach Phil Longo. South Carolina loses to LSU on the road 20-10. And I would say this offense did absolutely nothing for South Carolina. They just had one big run that was like 75 yards. That was it. LSU, they were moving the ball. They just couldn't finish drives. But South Carolina offense was terrible. We couldn't finish drives either, though. Like, even when we did establish something, it was something that would, like, prevent us from sustaining drives. So, bad day at the office for South Carolina. Ole Miss narrowly escapes Washington State 24-21, which was surprised the country, especially as 32.5-point favorites. But shout out to Ole Miss for finding a way to win. What's my Arkansas just narrowly escapes, but they were close to upsetting 12th ranked Tennessee 34-31. Now you could be saying, why is this not a notable game? Because I just don't think Arkansas is a notable team. So I just put on game the mission. But shout out Tennessee to hang on to win that game at home. They got revenge for last year when they lost with Nico at quarterback because of that last fourth down play. TCU loses on the road to K-State 41-28 and effectively ending me saying that TCU deserves to be ranked. They don't deserve to be ranked anymore. K-State forced a lot of turnovers. They forced 3 of them to be exact, to upset, in my opinion, a TCU at home. And I think this K-State offense is starting to look a little better. So shout out to them. Navy goes for 2 at the end of the game. They say forget overtime. Excuse me. And who else but Alec Texas makes the play on a 2-point conversion to beat Temple 32-31 and also remain undefeated. So shout out to the midshipmen. Minnesota beats Purdue at home 27-20 due to a Corey Parrish pick 6 to win the ball game. So shout out to Minnesota. And ECU defense forces 4 field goals in the first half. Didn't give up the big plays. Well, let me not say that. Didn't give up touchdowns. ECU climbs back into the game, but ultimately loses to Tulane 26-19, to where John Summerall and the Tulane Green Wave remain undefeated on the season. Now, we move on to major performances. And I got a whole list of them. It almost fills up the back of this page. So, let's get into it. First, we have Jeremiah Cook. 94 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ian Damond Williams, quarterback, Washington, 21 of 27, 402 yards, 2 touchdowns, 13 carries, 136 yards, and 2 more touchdowns for 4 total touchdowns. Tadez Green, tight end, LSU, 8 catches, 119 yards, and a touchdown. Elijah Surratt, wide receiver, Indiana, 8 catches, 121 yards, and a touchdown. Kewan Lacey, running back, Ole Miss, 24 carries, 142 yards. Cameron Dickey, running back, Texas Tech, 21 carries, 263 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Literally carried Texas Tech to that win. Mike Washington Jr., running back, Arkansas, 19 carries, 131 yards, and a touchdown. Deshaun Bishop, running back, Tennessee, 14 carries, 146 yards, and a touchdown. Malachi Hosley, running back, Georgia Tech, 11 carries, 129 yards, and a touchdown. Andrew Marsh, wide receiver, 8 catches, 138 yards, and a touchdown from Michigan. King Miller, running back. Why is it not working? There we go. Running back, USC, 18 carries, 158 yards, and a touchdown. LJ Martin, running back, BYU, 25 carries, 162 yards, and a touchdown. Parker Kingston, 5 catches, 117 yards, and a touchdown for BYU. Chris Hudson, wide receiver, Arizona, 9 catches, 106 yards, and a touchdown. Profili Ashlock, wide receiver, Hawaii, 8 catches, 113 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Micah Alahado, quarterback, Hawaii, 34-54, 413 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Which, real quick before I keep going, I don't know how he's 21 and a redshirt freshman, but he's 21 years old and he's a redshirt freshman. Didn't go to JUCO or anything, so that's kind of crazy. Next, we have Eric McAllister, wide receiver, TCU, 4 catches, 156 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Emmett Johnson, running back, Nebraska, 21 carries, 176 yards. Isaiah Hunter, wide receiver, Nebraska, 5 catches, 125 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Dewan Reynolds, wide receiver, UNLV, 4 catches, 139 yards, and a touchdown. Owen Allen, running back, Air Force, 17 carries, 192 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Liam Sarka, quarterback, Air Force, 10-17, 175 yards and a touchdown, 27 carries, 136 yards, and 2 touchdowns, 3 total touchdowns on the day. Tucker Kilcrease, quarterback, Troy, 30-39, 415 yards and 5 touchdowns. DJ Epps, wide receiver, Troy, 10 catches, 148 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Greg Burrell, running back, Texas State, 13 carries, 136 yards, and a touchdown. Lincoln Perry, running back, Texas State, 22 carries, 113 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And Desmond Reed, running back for Pitt, 12 carries, 45 yards, 8 catches, 155 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the day for the Pitt running back. Now, we're going to get into some poll talk, and that'll be the end of this episode. But don't you worry, I have another one coming on around 6:20 to talk about Conference USA, weekday Conference USA. So let's pull up the polls real quick for this week. And we all know that number 1 is the Ohio State Buckeyes, but we also all know how I feel that Miami University should be number 1. But I'm going to do the top 10, and then we'll talk. Number 1 is Ohio State. Number 2 is Miami. Number 3 is Indiana. Number 4 is Texas A&M. Number 5 is Ole Miss. Number 6 is Alabama. Number 7 is Texas Tech. Number 8 is Oregon. Number 9 is Georgia. And number 10 is LSU. Now, here's how I feel. I feel like Miami should be number 1. They've won against Florida State on the road while Florida State was ranked. They've won against South Florida, but this was at home while South Florida was ranked, and South Florida is currently ranked actually 19th. Their only loss being to Miami. So I think they have a better resume. Now, you can say Ohio State beat Texas at home, and that's a great win. You're right. And they beat Illinois. They did on the road. That's another big win. But Texas is a team that was unranked at one point. I mean, you can say Florida State for Miami. But I feel like Texas was ranked highly because of all-season predictions, and the offense is not up to snuff. I think Miami has a better resume. They also beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame, only 2 losses are to number 2 Miami and number 4 Texas A&M. That's another quality win. So I think Miami should be ranked ahead. I'm cool with Indiana at 3. I'm cool with Ohio State if they were at 2. I'm cool with Texas A&M at 4, jumping over Ole Miss, who struggled with Washington State. I like that. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with Ole Miss at 5. Only reason why I'm cool with that, though, is because they're undefeated. Bama has 1 loss. I'm cool with Bama at 6. I might jump Texas Tech over, but Bama just went on a gauntlet and went 3-0 against Georgia, Mizzou, and Vandy, while Texas Tech has played Kansas, Houston, and Utah. Utah's a great win, but those 3 don't match up to Bama's wins, so I'm cool with that. Oregon at 8 is fine. They just lost. Georgia at 9 is fine. LSU should not be top 10. They're not a top 10 school. Teams I would put in over LSU. I would put Tennessee over LSU because they should have beat Georgia. I would put Notre Dame over LSU. I don't care about the losses. LSU is not a good team. I would put Georgia Tech possibly over LSU. That's for the current moment. You can say the close game against Wake Forest. I'll give you that. But LSU's not top 10 to me. 11 through 20. Tennessee at 11, Georgia Tech at 12, Notre Dame at 13, Oklahoma at 14, BYU at 15, Mizzou at 16, Vandy at 17, Virginia at 18, USF at 19, and USC at 20. I don't think I really have an issue with any of this currently. I would probably, you got to give BYU some respect, though. They're undefeated. I don't think I got an issue with, I would put USC over USF, though. I would do that. I would put USC over Virginia. I would do that. I would probably jump USC. Yeah, 18 is fine. But I really got no issue other than that. The Texas at 21, I have a big issue with. Memphis at 22, love it. Utah at 23, I'm fine with. 24 and 25 being Cincinnati and Nebraska. I like that they're ranked, but I would flip them. Why? Nebraska literally beat Cincinnati on a neutral field the first game of the year. So Nebraska, to me, would be in front of Cincinnati. But I'm cool with that. But Texas, I got a big issue with. 2 losses. Yes, they just beat Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry, but it just seems like you're geeking to put Texas back in the top 25 because they're Texas. They are not a top 25 school right now. I would like to see another win, or big win, I should say, before we jump the gun and put them ahead of teams like Memphis, who's undefeated, Utah, who's 1 loss, is only against Texas Tech, who's ranked 7th, and Cincinnati and Nebraska, who only has 1 loss as well. I don't like that. I would like to see Tulane possibly be ranked undefeated in the American Athletic Conference. I would have liked to see that. I would like to see Washington at 5-1 be ranked over Texas. I would like to see that. Possibly UNLV. Possible. That's just a possible. But I would definitely choose Washington and Tulane over Texas for sure. Just currently as we speak. But that has been Poll Talk. Let me know your discussions or thoughts of the polls in the comments. And we're going to get out of here. Again, like I said, I will be back in about an hour to discuss weekday Conference USA. We got 5 games, 3 today, 2 tomorrow. Got to discuss those. It's already written up. The show is already ready to go. I would like to thank those for tuned in and watched. I appreciate every second that you stayed with me. We are about to kick off week 8. I cannot wait for that to happen. Then after me, make sure you tune into the main show and Unfazed. We just had a heavy lineup of shows for y'all today. We had Joe Jordan show at 6 o'clock. We got me right now for the past 50 minutes. We got me again at 6:20, 6:30. And then we got Unfazed in the main show, not in that order. So like I said, we got a heavy lineup of shows for y'all today. We got the MLB Championship Series with the Brewers and Dodgers tonight. Should be a fun one with Yamamoto and Freddie Peralta taking the mound as the starting pitchers for the Dodgers and Brewers. Should be a good one. I just want to see my GOAT get a home run tonight. But like I said, this has been CTC. I will be back in an hour. Y'all enjoy y'all time. I'm gone. Peace.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.